over the CBA. The very committee that authorized the proposal that would lose the WNBA $700 million. The very committee that is turning down salary increases of about 9 times the amount of money you're making right now.
A WNBA union VP just publicly destroyed her own league while running a competing basketball business. And somehow she thinks this is normal. Stick around, because this conflict of interest is so blatant it'll make your head spin. And the person negotiating for the players? Nafisa Collier, VP of the Players Union. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. She's also the co-founder of Unrivaled, a competing 3-on-3 basketball league that's literally trying to recruit WNBA players. Let me say that again. The woman fighting for WNBA players is simultaneously building their replacement. The audacity is genuinely breathtaking. During an Unrivaled game, Keir stood in front of cameras and said this quote, "I think you've just heard a lot of chatter about what we're asking for is not sustainable for the business. Being on this side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. If they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can, because we've proven that it is possible." End quote. Did you catch that? She just told the WNBA, the league she's supposed to represent as Union VP, that their entire business model is broken while promoting her own startup as the solution. That's not negotiating. That's sabotage, with a smile, in a press conference.
Nafisa is saying absolutely, and the reality is the deadline is just a couple of days away. So she's saying that she sees a deal getting done, but also that they are not going to take less. Where do things stand now with those negotiations?
Yeah, Malika, both sides are still very far. You have the union saying, no, our proposed model would still result in the W being a profitable business. So just on that alone, we can see how far apart these two sides are. And now as that January 9th deadline comes on Friday, there are a couple different things that we could see happen. One, a deal get done, as Nafisa Collier said she's confident can happen. I'm being told that is less likely. So if that's not going to happen, we could see another extension be agreed upon, as it has happened a couple other times during these negotiations. The current agreement could just run out, but they could continue to negotiate in good.
But wait, it gets so much worse. Collier then declared, "We're standing firm in what we believe in. We're not going to back down, and we can't take less. The sport is just grown too much." She's demanding the WNBA pay players more while publicly calling the league financially unsustainable. The mental gymnastics required to maintain both positions simultaneously should qualify as an Olympic sport. Let's talk about what standing firm actually means here. Multiple sources told ESPN that the Players Association is proposing a 30% gross revenue share with a salary cap around $10.5 million. The WNBA's response? That proposal would result in $700 million in losses. $700 million with an M. That's not a typo. That's financial suicide. And the person pushing this proposal? The co-founder of a league that's propped up entirely by venture capital. You know what venture capital is, right? It's rich people betting you might make money someday. It's not profit. It's not revenue. It's a loan with extra steps and a prayer attached. But Collier's out here acting like Unrivaled cracked the code to sustainable basketball. Here's a fun fact. Unrivaled is reportedly causing massive losses for TNT. The network is bleeding money on this experiment. The second those advertising deals dry up, poof, gone. Vanish like your New Year's resolution by February. But sure, let's use this as the blueprint for how the WNBA should operate. What could possibly go wrong? Drop a comment right now. Can someone really negotiate in good faith for a league while actively building its replacement? Because I'm genuinely curious how anyone justifies this. Let's examine the conflict of interest here, because it's so massive you could see it from space. Nafisa Collier is the VP of the WNBA Players Union. That means her job, her literal professional responsibility, is to fight for players within the WNBA, to negotiate better salaries, better conditions, better everything for that specific league. But simultaneously, she's the co-founder of Unrivaled, a competing basketball league that needs those same players to succeed. Think about the incentives for a second. Does Collier want the WNBA to thrive, or does she want it to fail so players flock to her startup? Because those are mutually exclusive outcomes. You cannot serve both masters. This is like being the head chef at McDonald's while opening your own burger joint across the street, then going back to McDonald's corporate and saying their burgers aren't good enough. The boldness would be impressive if it weren't so completely unhinged. Here's where the situation becomes nuclear. Breanna Stewart, Collier's co-founder in Unrivaled, is also a VP on the negotiating committee. That's right. Both founders of the competing league are on the committee that voted to authorize a strike against the WNBA. The very committee that proposed the deal costing $700 million in losses. The very committee that's turning down salary increases approximately 9 times what players currently make. Let me paint this picture clearly. 2 women who need the WNBA to struggle so their startup looks attractive are sitting at the negotiating table saying, "Pay us more or we walk," while literally building the place they'd walk to. It's extortion with a business plan. It's a hostage situation disguised as collective bargaining. And the worst part? Collier had the audacity to use Unrivaled as proof that sustainable basketball is possible. She literally said, "We've proven that it is possible. There is a way and we're thriving in that." Thriving. That word is doing more heavy lifting than a powerlifter at the Olympics. Let's talk about what thriving actually means, because apparently someone needs a dictionary. Unrivaled is a 3-on-3 league. Small rosters. 1 location. 1 gym. 1 tiny arena. They're playing in what one brilliant commenter called a Barnum and Bailey-looking basketball league. It's basically a studio setup with maybe 1,000 people if they're lucky. Meanwhile, when Caitlin Clark plays, the WNBA is packing massive NBA arenas with 20,000 screaming fans. The contrast couldn't be more obvious if they painted it neon pink and set it on fire. One fan absolutely destroyed this argument online. They said they think getting investors is making money. No. That's to prop you up so you can start making money and have the infrastructure and the facilities. Exactly. Investors aren't revenue. They're basically rich people saying, "We believe you might not die immediately, so here's some cash to keep the lights on." That's not a sustainable business model. That's a Hail Mary with a checkbook. Here's the kicker that absolutely sent me into orbit. Collier had surgery during Unrivaled season. Let me repeat that because it's so absurd it bears repeating. The co-founder of this supposedly thriving, revolutionary basketball league chose to have ankle surgery and miss games in her own league, but she couldn't schedule it during the WNBA off-season. This is in January. You got hurt. Schedule it earlier. The timing makes zero sense, and if that doesn't scream, "I don't actually believe in my own product," I don't know what does. Actions speak louder than press releases. And her actions are screaming that even she doesn't think Unrivaled is that important. One person nailed it online. They said that shows a little bit of lack of interest in your own business, especially in light of the fact that Unrivaled doesn't have star players. Brutal. True. Devastating. But let's address the elephant in the room. Actually, let's address the entire elephant herd, because there are so many problems here we need a safari guide. The biggest elephant? Caitlin Clark. While Collier's busy trying to burn down the WNBA from the inside, Clark has been single-handedly revitalizing the league. She's drawing crowds. She's bringing eyeballs. She's making the WNBA relevant in ways it hasn't been in years. Clark is packing 20,000-seat arenas. She's bringing unprecedented attention and revenue. She's the face of the WNBA's resurgence. And what does she get for her trouble? A union VP who's actively trying to undermine the league's financial stability while demanding players get paid more. The math isn't matting, people. It's not even in the same zip code as matting. Think about the position this puts Clark in. She's out here carrying the league on her back, bringing fans who've never watched women's basketball before, generating buzz that money can't buy, and her own union leadership is publicly declaring the league unsustainable. How is that defending her interests? How is that fighting for her future? Spoiler alert, it's not. It's self-serving nonsense disguised as player advocacy. The fan reactions have been absolutely savage, and rightfully so. The online community has been roasting Collier with the intensity of 1,000 suns. People are demanding answers nobody seems prepared to give. One fan said, How many of these unrivaled tickets are just getting given away? Because let's be real, when you're a startup league trying to generate buzz, you're probably handing out free tickets like candy on Halloween. That's not sustainable attendance. That's manufactured hype. Another person asked the perfectly reasonable question. This is the first week of the second season. How do you know how sustainable the business is? You don't. You can't. It's like a toddler telling their parents how to run a household. You've been alive for 5 minutes. Maybe pump the brakes on the life advice. Yeah, sit down, kid. Someone else summed it up perfectly. A 2-year 3-on-3 pop-up league. Please come back when unrivaled lasts 3 decades. The WNBA has been grinding for years, building infrastructure, negotiating TV deals, establishing a fan base, and Collier thinks her little experiment that's been around for approximately 10 seconds should be the blueprint. The arrogance is genuinely breathtaking. It's so bold you'd think she invented confidence. Here's what really kills me about this situation. The sheer scale difference. The WNBA is backed by the NBA. It has established TV deals. It has infrastructure across multiple cities. It has teams, rosters, coaches, facilities, everything you need for a professional sports league. Unrivaled has investors who might bail at any moment, a single location, and a business model that's proven beyond rich people gave us money. These are not comparable situations. This is comparing a lemonade stand to Costco and saying Costco should learn from the lemonade stand's efficiency. The comparison is absurd on its face.